In this module, we will review the results of the most relevant indicators of the My Building is Green project, calculating the impact of the NBS implemented in the pilot buildings. Mainly, it is about comparing the baseline situation with the post situation. In this presentation, we have focused on the results of the Gabriela Mistral School in Solana de los Barros, because with a longer monitoring period, it is possible to draw more evidence and conclusions. The baseline period starts in May 2019 and ends in October 2021. In the period after the installation of NBS starts in November 2021 and closes at the end of the project, thus fulfilling the minimum 2 years of monitoring foreseen. This unit is linked to the previous one as it follows the same monitoring scheme and methodology as in Unit 15 and Unit 16. We have included the impact of the most representative indicators regarding climate change adaptation and mitigation measures. The results of the indicators for the climate change adaptation and mitigation challenge are shown next. The monthly evolutions of average temperatures aggregated by facades and floors are shown in the figure. It can be observed that during the cold months from November to February, the differences do not seem significant. However, as outdoor temperatures increase in the months from April to October, certain difference can be appreciated before the interventions, with classrooms on the east facade having higher temperatures than those on the west facade. Regarding the difference between the two floors, it can be observed that although the differences do not seem very high in the warmer months from May to September, certain differences can be seen, with the upper floor having higher temperatures. This is associated with a greater effect of sunlight on the roof in the upper classrooms directly beneath it. After the interventions, it can be observed that the difference has been notably reduced. Additionally, it can be seen that the average monthly interior temperatures during the warm period have decreased. Outside temperatures have been similar before and after the interventions. An application of this indicator could be to assess the impact of installing a green roof. To do this, data from two classrooms located on the same east-facing facade at Solana de los Barros School were collected. One of them was situated under an intervened roof, while the other, used as a reference, was on the ground floor with a floor between the classroom and the roof. In general, it can be observed that temperatures under the green roof have been lower than expected compared to those on the reference classroom. Furthermore, it can also be noted that the month of May 2022 had average temperatures more than 1 degree higher than those of previous years inside the school. Additionally, if we analyze the average temperatures of the area using data from IMED for Mérida, it is found that there has been a 9% increase in daily average temperatures in 2022 compared to previous years. For the building surface temperature indicator, the thermal images of the school Gabriela Mistral envelope are shown. The entire envelope was photographed before and after the installation of the NBS. This and next slide show the images taken on the 8th of June of 2022, 7 months after the end of the construction of the solutions. The surface temperature of the roof is affected by the installation of the three types of green roofs. The thermal images show that the surface of the green roofs have a lower surface temperature than the original gravel roofs. The difference between temperature is very notable, and there are also differences between the green roof types depending on the type of vegetation and the degree of vegetation cover. In this slide, we see the thermal images of the east facade where the FABE system is implemented. The thermal images show that the surfaces associated with the FABE system have a lower surface temperature than the surfaces that maintain the original characteristics. This is thanks to the shading provided by the system. At the moment, this difference is smaller, mainly because the vegetation has not yet completely covered the structure, having a lower impact. To assess the impact of the solutions on the external environmental conditions of the building, we can observe that in general, in 2022, outdoor temperatures were 9% higher. However, on the east facade, the one subject to overall intervention at the school, there was a decrease of 1% in average temperatures and 17 in maximum temperatures. This is primarily associated with the partial shading of the facade already achieved. On the west facade, there is only a 2% increase in averages and a 5% decrease in maximum temperatures. It is important to note that the facade interventions still had the vegetation underdeveloped, although irrigation is underway and having an effect. Hence, greater reductions are expected in the coming years. This indicator shows the reduction of the cooling demands thanks to the application of NBS through dynamic building simulations. The modeling of the energy savings produced by the implementation of NBS shows that by adding the different solutions, it can be achieved a reduction of cooling demand of more than 50%. It is important to note that these results can serve as a guide for the starting point of analysis. Further research is needed to investigate the behavior of the different solutions in order to achieve greater similarity between the actual performance and the results shown by the simulations. The results of the water management challenge indicator are shown next. During the construction phase, an increase in water consumption is observed due to the construction activities themselves, and also in the first months of operation of the NBS, as the plant requires more careful watering in order to root well and not die. However, the effect of long-term savings is expected to result in effective savings in irrigation. The image corresponds to the school in Oporto. The method used is an adaptation of the curve number method to the type of roofs. We have analyzed the change in roof type in terms of permeability and calculated how much water is captured before and after the installation of the NBS. After calculating the values of catchment and runoff, an ex-ante and ex-post evaluation has been carried out, theoretically estimating the percentage of runoff water in both cases. In the pre-intervention situation, it is estimated that 952 millimeters of rainwater has been captured and a total of 143 millimeters has been emitted by runoff, which means a loss of 30% of water by runoff. In the export situation, it is estimated that 635 millimeters of rainwater has been captured and a total of 17 millimeters has been emitted as runoff, representing a loss of 3% of water through runoff. The results of the indicators of the Green Areas Management Challenge are shown next. In the case of Solana, there has been a significant increase in biodiversity since the installation of the NBS. In the baseline sampling, 29 species were counted, which increased to 70 just after the installation of the NBS and subsequently increased by a further 36 species. This brings to the total of 91 species in June 2023. While none of the species planted in the NBS have been lost, to date, their density has decreased, while the density of native species that have colonized in new areas has increased. Analysis of hill numbers to estimate the number of observed species, characteristic species, and dominant species indicates that the total number of species estimated for the area is 157, with expectation of reaching the figure after 7 surveys or 3 years. Of particular importance is the increase in population of several species of bugs because they are detritivores capable of metabolizing heavy metals and thus removing them from the substrate. In the baseline carried out before work began in Solana, 50 plant species were found, all of them ruderal and of little landscape value. The aim of the plant species initially planted on the green roofs was to facilitate colonization by native species over time. Indeed, 14 months after the planting of the NBS, the green roofs has been colonized by 17 additional native species, some of which already cover a considerable area, while the plants used in the planting reduce the area. The results of the air quality challenge indicators are shown next. Below are the initial results of the indicators for carbon dioxide concentration levels inside the classroom, the profile of average CO2 concentration in classrooms, which provides an insight into indoor air quality, and the level of ventilation percent has been significantly altered due to changes in habits following the COVID-19 pandemic. The figure illustrates the evolution of average CO2 concentrations values during the academic period in one of the monitored schools. Before the pandemic, the average values were very high for a significant portion of the academic year. Upon returning to classrooms after the pandemic, the levels decreased considerably and remained around the recommended values for reducing the risk of transmissions for over a year. The ventilation protocols implemented led to a significant reduction in CO2 levels, with many classrooms experiencing a decrease of more than 50%. However, during the 2021-2022 academic year, there has been a relaxation in ventilation measures compared to the previous winter. Although peak values above the recommended levels are observed, the average values during school hours are acceptable. A direct application of recording CO2 concentrations in the selection of necessary ventilation periods to maintain values with the recommended rates. Monitoring concentration values provides us with the time of day when levels may reach high levels. By combining these profiles with outdoor temperatures for profiles, we can identify the most suitable times for opening doors and windows and for how long. This applies to both summer and winter, albeit with different timing. If automatic windows are available, their programming can be easily adjusted periodically to accommodate these findings. The results of the indicators for the Urban Regeneration Challenge are shown below. In this indicator, we have reflected the main measures that improve the energy efficiency of the building. Regarding the energy consumption of the school based on electricity bills, it can be observed that energy consumption during winter has decreased over the years. However, the behavior during the summer months is unclear. In the hottest months, when the school is closed, July and August, energy consumption seems to have increased. This fact will need to be reviewed and verified by Diputación of Badajoz in the following years to evaluate if the facilities are properly shut down and if the contribution of the irrigation system is significant. In this regard, adjustments to the pumping station will need to be reviewed to reduce the energy consumption of the pumps. On the other hand, the trend during hot months with the presence of students is unclear. While consumption seems to stabilize in May, it appears to decrease significantly in September and October. This may be due to the improved shading and thermal insulation provided by the FABE system, leading to the opening of curtains on the east facade, reducing energy consumption for lighting, and lowering temperatures, thereby reducing the use of fans and other portable cooling equipment in the school. However, these trends will need to be evaluated in the coming years as the FABI system becomes more developed and the effects of the pandemic years dismissed. Regarding the increase of the green area in Gabriela Mistral School, the existing green area, green roofs, green facades, green pergolas, and new green garden areas have been considered. The green area has increased a 145%. The results of the indicators for the Governance and Participation Challenge are shown below. Surveys have shown the general interest of the educational community in the project. Likewise, the degree of knowledge about the ecosystem services provided by the NBS have increased at the end of the project. Pupil, parents, and teachers have had the opportunity to learn about the project, its objectives, and the functioning and benefits of the NBS. In this sense, it could be advisable to continue working in the community to disseminate the principles of the project and to carry out participatory management and maintenance of the installed NBS. The results of the indicators for the Social Cohesion Challenge are shown next. We wanted to highlight the importance of NBS in the dynamization of future collaborations. As an example, with the aim of favoring the future replication of NBS in other municipalities, 7 municipalities in the province of Badajoz have signed a declaration of interest for the promotion of NBS implementation initiatives, and 14 municipalities in the central Alentejo of Portugal have signed an agreement of principles in the field of promoting the implementation of NBAs for climate change adaptation. In conclusion, the My Building is Green project has provided valuable observations on the implementation of NBS in school settings, although the monitoring of some indicators has presented measurement challenges due to the lack of difficulty of obtaining data or the need for longer monitoring time. The results in schools such as Solana de los Barrios in Badajoz are positive. Achievements such as significant reductions in indoor temperatures, water management, increased biodiversity, and active engagement of the educational community are highlighted. Taken together, these findings support the effectiveness of the project and offer valuable insights for the future implementation of NBS in educational settings. Finally, I share in this slide my email address to answer questions and the communication channels of the project LIFE-myBUILDINGisGREEN, such as the website, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you very much for your interest.
In collaboration with the LIFE program of the European Union.